Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, is it time to move on? Well, I've got 3 emails I'm going to go through with you today. 2 of them, the guys are in difficult situations, and they're kind of going back and forth. But when you really look and analyze their situation, it sounds like their relationships have kind of run their course. And the 3rd email that I've got is actually from a guy who was once in that kind of situation, and he did the things, he focused on the things that I talked about, and now he's met somebody new, and he's happy, he's doing well, he's focused on his purpose, and he's a lot happier than he's ever been before. So it gives you a nice contrast of from like where these guys are to going to where they need to be. But before we get into it, I got a quote that I wrote I want to share with you. And it says, "Breaking up is never fun, nor is it easy. Most people tend to stay in bad relationships or relationships that have run their course and need to end way longer than they should have. One of our 6 human needs is certainty. The fear of ending a relationship and moving on is always going to conflict with our need for certainty. If you are involved with someone, be it in an intimate relationship, business relationship, or friendship that needs to end, it does not serve you or them to prolong your suffering and unhappiness. Only when you create a space for someone new can you move forward and allow them to come into your life. Resist the temptation to go back and heat up leftovers. If you don't, you'll only delay the arrival of what you really want and deserve." So let's get into the first guy's email. He says, "Hey Coach, thanks for all of the YouTube videos. They've provided me a lot of inspiration and guidance in the past few months. I've been working on developing my confidence and improving my self-image and getting intentional about the way that I show up to others, and the videos have given me lots of laughs and motivation. Glad you are entertained." He says, "I've been dating this amazing, sexy, smart, sweet woman for about a year now. I am madly in love with her, and she treats me great. We are living together and have been talking a lot about our future together. She worked in the service industry and gets a fucking ton of male attention constantly. My spidey sense was triggered over the past few months as I'd been noticing her texting a lot and occasionally spending way more time getting dolled up. That's usually not a good sign. Because if she ain't getting dolled up for you, who do you think she's getting dolled up for? Remember, women know that us guys are visual creatures. And if they're going out of their way to look extra hot, and it ain't for you, there's somebody's attention that they're trying to get." He says, "I snooped on her cell phone last week and found that she had been sexting with an old friend," as he says, "while she was at work. That is totally fucking inappropriate. She works at a bar and drinks with her coworkers. She engaged in conversation with this dude about her tits, how their mutual refrain has always been their relationship status with others, and handling his dick. That is definitely not cool. Your girlfriend, who you've been with for a year, talking about some other guy and his dick, and he's talking about her tits? It's not good. It was clear from the text that the dude came to the bar that night after their chat. Obviously, she must have invited him. I confronted her with all of this, temporarily lost my shit, and told her I was out because trust had been lost. Your feelings are your truth in these situations. You should learn to listen to that. You're madly in love with this girl, and she's talking to some other guy about his dick. Think about that. You are way more into her than she is into you, because if all of her needs were being met and she was happy and totally gonzo and goo goo gaga over you, she's not going to be talking to some other guy about his dick and her tits. That's just totally inappropriate. She was extremely remorseful, probably only because you busted her, and did some good work to try and clean it up. It's only been a week. She quit the bar job, she's been considering doing that for a while, and severed her social media connections with this dude. In addition to texting him to let him know the cost of hers and their text. doesn't sound like she's really doing this because she was remorseful. She's just doing it to try to suck up to you and repair things. She's also been journaling and started back up with counseling. I have a lot of respect for this woman. That's how a woman earns your respect, is by talking to some other guy about his dick. Come on, man. You are bullshitting yourself, bro. And know that she has a lot of integrity. Come on, man. How much integrity does she have to have if she's talking about some guy's dick? She ain't talking about your dick. Think about it, dude. She swears nothing more happened. Well, it's only because you found out. And you kind of nipped it in the bud. But what if you hadn't have found out? What if you were away on a business trip? What if you were visiting relatives and she was still in town? What the fuck do you think would have happened? If she does it once, guess what? When she gets bored, oh well, she just can't help herself. She's owned up to the mistake and is empathetic about staying with me. We had a lot of deep conversation about it and got to a core issue of her reacting to authority and me not showing up with enough authority in the relationship. She wants an alpha, which is legit to me. Of course, all women want to be with the most dominant, masculine alpha that they can be with. But how can I take her back without compromising her perception of me as a confident alpha with an abundance mentality? I am good-looking and good-spirited human being with a lot to offer, and I don't doubt that I could find someone else. But I really, really love this woman. No amount of you loving this woman is going to cause her to be a person of integrity. The bottom line is she was talking to some other guy behind your back, sexting, and if you hadn't have intervened, there is a really good fucking chance. Remember, she's getting all dolled up for another dude. There's really a good chance that she would have hooked up with this other guy. How should I move forward? Quite frankly, from what you shared with me, it's just loyalty obviously doesn't mean shit. If she doesn't feel happy, instead of communicating to you like an adult and talking about your relationship, she goes and talks to some other guy about the problems in your relationship or how she's not being happy. And so she goes to get her needs met with some other guy. How can you ever trust somebody like that? Once a cheater, always a cheater. This is why you date. This is why you date somebody for several years. See, you're 1 year in. If you dated this woman for 2 or 3 years, now you're seeing these major red flags after only a year, and she's talking to some other guy about his dick. How would you feel if you had 2 or 3 kids with her, and you find out that she's doing this, maybe with one of your next door neighbors, one of your buddies? Then where are you? You don't want to be in that place, man. Quite frankly, I've pretty much seen enough from this, and I know you really love her and you really care about her, but this is always going to be in the back of your mind. This is the type of woman, as long as she's happy and her needs are met, she'll be loyal, and she'll only have eyes for you. But you start fucking up, she ain't going to work to resolve the relationship. She's going to go and start fishing around in some other dude's pond, if you will. How should I move forward? Me personally, I could never trust a woman like that. I've dated women that did shit like this when I got busy, I got complacent, I got caught up, worked too much. It happens to every guy, no matter how good you are. You get busy, you get complacent, you take the other person for granted. Instead of her bringing things up and you working through them by good quality communication, she's just like, oh well, he's too much of a beta, if you will, to not do anything about it. And there's this other guy, and he really likes me, and he makes me feel like a woman, he makes me feel sexy, so let me start sexting him and see what happens. Besides, if sex happens, she can blame it on the other guy. It's all his fault. He's the one that after all put his penis inside of her. That's the way a woman like that looks at it. You can't fix that. That's the way she is. Like I said, this is why you date somebody for 2 or 3 years before you go and get married. Because it's like once the infatuation wears off, once the newness wears off, this is what you're left with. This is the kind of woman that you have. And for me, she'd be a great sex playmate, great friends with benefits, great to have an open relationship with. But loyalty doesn't mean jack shit to this woman. How do I know? Look at her actions, dude. I don't really give a shit that she's getting counseling. It's not your job to fix her. And no amount of you loving this woman and thinking she's the greatest thing since sliced bread and having respect for her and how much integrity she has, she's not showing you any integrity by doing this. She's out in my book, dude. I'd hang out, have fun, and hook up with her and find somebody new. Me personally, I would just say, I think you're a great girl, but you pretty much ruined the trust that I had, and I can never trust you again. Because this is how you are. I don't hate you for it, but at least we know before we got too far down the road. You can't be married to somebody like this. You can't have a healthy relationship. Relationships are hard enough. Long-term relationships are difficult enough without somebody that's already fucking around with another guy after only a year. You're deluding yourself to think otherwise, bro. I know it's not what you want to hear, but it's the fucking truth. I tell it like it is. I'm never going to blow sunshine up your ass. So let's move on to the second guy. Now this guy has gone through the shadow of the valley of death, and he's come out on the other side. And he says, "Hey coach, here's a success story for you. I first need to thank you for the work that you do and the lessons you teach. I first discovered your work after my first girlfriend broke up with me. And wondering, moping, and generally just being unhappy with what and where my life was, I decided to change it. At the end of the day, the only person that can change your life is the one that you see in the mirror. And good job for being a guy who recognized that and taking action to do something about it. It's like the Buddha said, faith without action is meaningless. I first decided to get myself in order with my attitude towards myself and towards others. I got in mental and physical shape, and I started pursuing what I love doing with my passions. I started going to school for something that I truly love doing, animation. Good for you, dude. Good fucking job. From there, I just started to enjoy my life more, going out in the town with my friends, meeting new friends, feeling more confident with everything I did and do. And I started noticing that people around me started to treat me more different, almost as that if they wanted to be near me. Think about it. Think about people that you've met in your life that are always happy, that are always smiling, always have a kind word, always have a funny story, interesting to listen to. That's what a leader is. These people just naturally make you feel good when you're around them. So good for you for becoming what you already are inside. He says, but the best part is I started experiencing new things that my old self would never do. Got outside your comfort zone. One of the things that Tony Robbins taught me, your comfort zone is where you're most uncomfortable. That's where you're going to grow the most, is when you do things that scare you and that are uncomfortable. He says, and from there I met this really cool girl who was goal-oriented, creative, funny, nice, pretty, everything I wanted in a girl. Like attracts like. From there, in applying your teachings, I got her number, acted confident, charming, James Bond with a little bit of naughty boy. Good, I can tell you've been paying attention. Successfully made dates with her and making sure the dates were set as what a lover would do. Taking the lead on where the dates went, actually listening to her, reading her interest, and I was acting like a real man. Just a few days ago, I took her out on an evening date and ended up leading the interaction, having fun, hanging out, and eventually hooking up. For myself personally, I lost my virginity to her, and it was amazing. Good job. See? You created an amazing experience for yourself, and you lost your virginity to a really great girl. Good for you, dude. Awesome. Proud of you. He says, so I'm saying, thank you, Corey. You were the catalyst for myself to become the better me. With all that being said, I'm always trying to better myself now and still have much to learn. But thank you thus far with everything you offer. You definitely are an awesome dude. Thank you. So are you, bro. Good job. Keep it up. So let's get on to the third and final email. This guy says, hey, Corey, I've read your book once now, and I've watched your videos on YouTube, now a few daily since the breakup. And I purchased a phone session tonight, and I really need some help. So let me start out by telling you a little background info, and I will keep this as straight and as to the point as possible without sacrificing what I feel is necessary details. My ex graduated last year. She's 24, and I'm still in college. Our first year together was great, and we loved each other deeply and had a wonderful relationship that made others jealous. Sounds like it was the honeymoon period. She had talked about marriage ever since the first few months, but she had wanted to wait until I graduated. This put some pressure on me, and I had also relocated to be with her. Our relationship became stale, with me constantly exhausted from school and work, and her hating the new town we moved to. This is what happens. You get out of the honeymoon period, and you start dating, you get complacent, you get jammed up with school, or you get jammed up with work, your career. You stop doing the little things that you did when you were still goo gaga, head over heels in love with her and infatuated with her. And the attraction slowly starts to wane. And it's just like the analogy of the frog and the pot of water. You stick a frog in a boiling pot of water, well, he's going to jump right out. When you stick him in a pot of water and you slowly turn up the heat, he's just going to lay there and boil it to death. He says, I took advantage of her a bit by basically moving in with her and spending every night with her and not really giving her a chance to miss me. Also, she wanted the commitment and for me to propose and kept forcing the issue. One stressful day, I snapped and told her that it was too much pressure and that she needed to back off the marriage thing because she had started telling her parents and planning our wedding. Well, obviously she was in love with you at that point. While I still had years left in school and couldn't afford a ring that I felt she deserved. This, coupled with depression, codependence, immaturity, and me not knowing how to treat a woman and her not willing to compromise or communicate effectively, it's pretty hard to have a healthy relationship with a woman who doesn't communicate effectively, wore both of us down. In March, I started talking about how I wanted to transfer schools because we both weren't happy here, and I felt like we would be better off where we had met and spent our first months together. Initially she agreed, but then came back and told me that she had to go to the East Coast to continue with her classes and pursue her dreams now instead of waiting until I graduated like we had planned. Well, that means her attraction had dropped and she was moving on with her life and being independent. It took me back and I shut off a bit after it. I realized I was no longer number one in her life. I then decided to take a semester off and save up to move out to the East Coast. She stayed up at night stressing that if I halted my schooling to move with her, that we would never be successful and have the financial security that we both want. See, what's happening here is you're giving up your purpose in order to please your girlfriend. You're doing what you think it's going to take to make her happy. And what you really need to do is focus on your school and get that shit out of the way. See, it's like you gave up your purpose, and that's going to cause a woman to not feel safe and comfortable, and that's actually going to create the opposite of the whole reason why you did it, which you thought it would create more attraction, but instead it turned her off even more. He says, I resisted this and said that I didn't want to lose her. Wrong, bad way to go. And asked if she'd go for only 6 months rather than a whole year. She said I was manipulating her and being unsupportive of her dreams. You gotta love in such a way that the person you love feels free. He says, I was just wanting her to compromise and give us the best shot to stay together, get married, and be happy. Well, you weren't ready to get married. And see, now you feel like you're losing her, and now you feel like you got to bend yourself into a pretzel and do what you really don't want to do in order to make her happy. And guess what? It's having the exact opposite of the effect. She's like, see you later, dude. We broke up over this, and she's leaving early next year. Our breakup was a few months ago. We've been together for almost 2 years at this point. Since then, I've been going to counseling, gotten back in better shape, gotten re-registered for school. I've been on a few dates, really trying to improve myself and continue on without her in my life. Good for you. That's all you can really do. If she doesn't want to participate in your relationship, I want you, honey, but don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes people's goals and values change. I realize that she is the one I want in life. Well, because now she dumped you, now you think you want to be with her, but you didn't want to marry her before, and that's what your real truth was, bro. And the only reason that you think you want to be with her and she's the one is because she dumped you. He says, and then I want her back more than anything. I know that I can be all right without her, but I know with her in my life it'll be great again. Life can be great without her, dude. It was great before you even knew her. Think about it. He says, I've tried several times with a bit of success, but I have yet to win her back for good. That's approval-seeking behavior. You watch too many movies thinking you got to prove yourself to her. Initially, I went no contact for a week, and then I made the mistake of getting drunk, showing up at her place, and begging her back. No contact means you walk and you never look back. It doesn't mean you go no contact for a week. In other words, you just didn't call her for a week. It's not that you went no contact. She said she couldn't ever get back with me. I mean, think about it. Look how weak that looks. I mean, you see this shit in the movies all the time. You go, oh, please, please, please take me back. Never fucking works in real life. I then went no contact again, and she contacted me out of the blue after a week. I didn't answer until the next day. I called her, went straight to her apartment, talked, we had sex twice, stayed the night, watched romantic movies, and ate pizza. Hung out, had fun, and hooked up. See? Want to get some pizza and fuck? Hey, what's the matter? You don't like pizza? I had a buddy of mine in college that actually used to go up to women and say shit like that when he got drunk. Every once in a while, he gets smacked. But it was pretty fucking funny. He says, the next day, we went on a hike. She said I was emotionally abusive, and that was the reason she couldn't get back with me. I backed off for a while and really examined that. Through talking with my therapist, that emotional abuse claims was her looking for a reason to hate me and keep me away by blowing behavior up into something that it's not. We then had some more interaction. Obviously, you started chasing her again. It's a bad way to go, dude. She stopped working on your relationship. When you're in a relationship with somebody they don't want to work on it anymore, you got to let them go. Because otherwise, when you chase after them, you make them feel like they're going to lose their freedom, and it just pushes them away even more. She had to give me more of my stuff back, and she said she never wanted to talk to me again after that talk. I then blocked her on Facebook and deleted her number from my phone. I saw her out in a bar one night, and she was with a new dude. We talked, and she said she was sorry, but she had met someone new and was out with him. I know that didn't feel good. He says, I was pissed but understood, and that helped me to move on. She then contacted me 3 times. Once would be on our anniversary, again, to see what I was doing. Obviously, things weren't going so well with the new guy. That's why you walk and you never look back. Because then she starts to think, I don't know, did I make the right decision? I haven't heard from this guy. Did he find somebody new? Did he find another girl better that made him happier than he was with me? Think about it. And a third, to give back some more of my stuff that she still had of mine. I decided to text her and invite her to dinner. She accepted, and we hung out, and we had a great time. It reminded me of why I loved her. I had her laughing until she cried, and we had a nice meal. And at the end of the night, I made the mistake of not ending it so that I left her wanting more. After dinner, we went back to my place, cuddled on the couch, and when I leaned in for the kiss, she rejected me. I was okay with it. That's when you should have said, hey, I want you, but I'm not interested in just being friends with you. This shit doesn't work for me. But later on in the evening, she said that she couldn't do this and that she had just gotten to where she was happy being independent. Hey, I'm not looking to get back together, but I just want to have fun. But we can't be hanging out if you're going to hold back. I mean, I know you find me irresistible and you want to kiss me, but if you're going to purposely stay away from me and not bring those beautiful lips over here, because they do look a little dry, by the way, I'm really happy to help moisten those for you. That even though she wanted to, we couldn't have sex. If she wanted to have sex with you, dude, she'd have had sex with you. And I couldn't stay the night, and we couldn't even kiss. I held her tight, told her I love her so much, and that she should just let herself be happy with me because things will be different as long as we continue working on ourselves and becoming better people. I left feeling pretty good about our interaction. Today, I figured I'd swing by her work and drop off some stuff to her and ask her to come with me and go out with me on Sunday night. That's a bad way. Now you're chasing her. You don't chase somebody that dumps you, bro. See, it's like you got a little bit of input from her, meaning she contacted you, and you're like, okay, great, now I can go right back to my stalkerish behavior, and you get the exact opposite effect. She treats you like you're a second-class citizen. She got mad because she said she couldn't see me again and that she couldn't continue this. Duh. And she was moving, and she didn't see us working out long-term. I don't know what to do. I know she cares. Not really. Obviously not enough. And we are wonderful together. You think you're wonderful together. Obviously, if she thought you were so wonderful together, guess what? You would be together. And I love her so much, and I want to marry this girl, and I must get her back. Please help. The best thing that you can do at this point is nothing. Let her go. Let her reach out to you, and when she does, just be like, hey, babe, it's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together? Why don't you grab a bottle of wine, come on over to my house, we'll make dinner together. I'd love to see you. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. That's all you can do. See, part of the problem is you back off, then she calls you, and then you go apeshit, and you go right back to your old ways, and then she blows you off again. You got to let her come to you. When you get rejected, in this particular case, it's got to be her idea to come back. Meaning, she's not going to call you and ask you out most of the time. 99% of the time, women aren't going to do that. But if she reaches out to you, make a date. Assume if a woman contacts you, it's because she wants to see you. Even though she's not going to bring it up, you bring it up, be like, hey, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you. When are you free to get together? Awesome. How about Wednesday? And don't go out of your way. That's why you have her come over to your place. Grab a bottle of wine, come on over, make dinner together. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. Just like that. Keep it really fucking simple. And cut all this, I want to marry this girl. Fuck that shit, dude. She's got to earn you back. And the only way she's going to fall back in love with you to the point where she wants to marry you again, she has to bring that up. Is you don't bring that shit up, because getting married, love, connection, bonding, relationships and dating labels, that's the woman's department. That's feminine energy. And so when a guy brings that shit up, guess what? He's acting like a woman. He's acting like a big giant fucking wussy. He's acting like a fucking mangina. You're not going to get anywhere with that kind of behavior. You should already be able to see it from your interactions here. As soon as you start chasing her, guess what? She goes cold and blows you off. Then you let her go, then she reaches out, she comes back, you get together, you make a little progress, then you start chasing her again. And then she blows you off again. Let her come back to you, set dates when she does. That way, guess what? It's her idea. And if you do that, you have a much better chance of her wanting to stay in town. But no amount of you trying to plead your case is going to make her change her mind. It's got to be her idea. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book phone, Skype, or email coaching. You can do that by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen on any page of my website, and follow the instructions for booking whatever option you would like to get in contact with me. And I will talk to you soon.